right after I heard Ranch's speech, I remembered I forgot to write in some thank yous. So if you're here, thank you. Appreciate you coming out. Couldn't be here without you, and really appreciate it. But no, there are a lot of people in this room that have made my career very successful. Very fortunate to have you in my lives. You all know who you are, and I won't bore everybody by calling out your names. All right, so they asked me to speak about some experiences that I've had, and I've been fortunate to have quite a few, positive and negative. But I think there's kind of a theme, there's a theme to being an athlete and being a successful athlete. And it may sound a little strange, but I call it a numbers game. So what I'm gonna do today is talk to you about a few numbers, all right? So some of you guys know me, some don't know me so well. There's probably a few of you that got the paper one day and were thinking, well, whose body is that? But I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself. Who I am is basically 15,000 hours, cumulative hours of training. 15,000. There's a number that most of the athletes probably don't want to hear, but that's if I look back and think about all the years that I've been competing in track and field, we add up all the training hours, it comes to about 15,000. Now, that would be like if you went out to the track right now, started practicing, and didn't stop until June 2014. And I mean, when I say don't stop, I mean don't change your socks, your underwear, don't stop and get some water, just keep going. That's about how much we train. But it's kind of a conservative number because I do, that's pretty much my college and my professional career. We don't want to talk about youth level because most of the time when you're really young at the track, you're just hanging out anyway and seeing who's there. And occasionally you get to some practice, your coach yells at you, and then you go ahead and go out there and do it anyway. But when I was really serious and dedicated, we're talking about that much time in training. But let me tell you who else I am. If you think about it, we're talking about numbers and hours. I am Janico in 10 years, right? The kind of success that I've had. Where Janico can be in 10 years. So I'm 27, and he's right, 17, right? Shaquille in 8 years, Allison 7 years. I'm getting kind of old. It might have been a little bit more relative if we had this speech maybe 3 years ago, but you guys understand what I'm trying to say. All right. But what I am trying to say is that all the athletes in here have the potential to represent Bermuda on the highest stages and most acclimated stages that our sport has to offer. You all have the potential to turn pro. It's not an invisible dream. It's not something that can't be done. It can be done with hard work. The question is, whom among you is willing to put in that work? Because 15,000 is a lot of hours. But no great honor comes without sacrifice. So that's kind of the big theme with this. You have to be willing to sacrifice certain things in order to be great. Now, some of y'all saw my plate a few minutes ago. It's pretty tall because I'm hungry. But I went over there for dessert and I didn't have it. Because at the end of the day, I know that in 3.5 weeks, I'll be on the track competing. It's a small sacrifice. But those who know me know I have a huge sweet tooth. When I say huge, I usually have a bag of Twizzlers, Starbursts, or something in my bag when I travel. So that was actually a big sacrifice for me. So bear with me, I'm making baby steps, all right? All right, so just right quickly, I'm just gonna talk to the athletes right quick. Who amongst you guys wants to stand on the podium, hear the anthem, have your flag waving in the background? Everybody, right? Everybody's hands should be up right now, all right? But the key to getting that is just counting the right numbers, being able to see the trends in the things that you do on a daily basis. From the day I laced up my first pair of spikes to me standing here in front of you, which is the delicate numbers game. Let me tell you some of the numbers that I'm talking about. The number 3. 3, that's the number of times I was allowed to long jump in high school. Allowed to long jump in high school. By the time I graduated, I competed in the long jump just 3 times. They never wanted to let me long jump. They just saw me as this little skinny kid who had a big mouth and probably didn't have too much athletic ability. But I didn't let that stop me because I was counting the day until I could show them how good I could be. Now, the next number, and I think Ranch will laugh at this more than anyone else, is 6.42. Actually, 6.42 meters to be specific. That was my personal best in the long jump when I graduated from high school. Now, that means I was 17. Ranch, when you were 16, you were going 6:39, right? 6:37. Right? That's a long way from where I'm at right now, but I mean, there are plenty of girls who could out-jump me when I was graduating from high school, and you know, I'm fortunate to say I was able to overcome some of those barriers. But you know, it's one of those things where you see a beginning, and now, you know, I've been competitively long jumping on a regular basis since about 2004. There's been a huge transition from there, but it is 642. I'm proud of that. You know, that was for me. I was on top of the world when I jumped that far. So every day, every achievement is important to that particular athlete. So the next number 4, that was a number of coaches that wouldn't let me long jump, that I had to convince to let me on that runway. And you know, it wasn't until my sophomore year in college that I finally met a coach that I tricked into letting me long jump. And I say tricked because we got new coaches my sophomore year, and I got so tired of asking everybody to let me long jump that I just, we all had our meetings with the coach, you know, individual meetings to introduce yourself to him. I walked up to him and I said, "Hi, Coach Brian, my name's Tyrone. I'm a long jumper and triple jumper." He said, "Okay." I was like, "What?" And from that day, without bias, he was actually the first coach I had who, without bias, just trained me. He said, "Okay, kid wants a long jump, I'm gonna let him long jump." So, you know, that was the 2003-2004 year. And actually, that freshman year of mine, I increased a little. I got a little bit better. I went 6. Let me see. I had to convert this because I didn't know the meters. I went 665 my freshman year in college. But from 2004 to 2006, Coach Brian, who just coached me, you know, just gave me a chance, took me from 665 to 792. And that first year, we went from 665 to 745 in 1 year. And I'm talking to the athletes right now, but I'm also talking to the coaches. Sometimes you never know what you got. You just have to coach them. And athletes, you just have to listen, because I didn't know I could jump that far either. I thought, you know, hey, maybe I'll go 23 feet one day, maybe I'll go 24 feet one day. But you just have to put what you have into it on a daily basis, because you never really know what you have. Absolutely. All right, so after 2006, you know, I graduated from college. I graduated in May of 07. Moved down to Houston, and you know, I said, I'm going to give this 1 year. I'm going to go ahead and try to turn pro. We got the Olympics next year. Let me see what I can do. So, got a new coach. Got with Tom Tellez. Now, for the younger athletes, you guys might not know the whole lineage, but Tom Tellez, he coached Carl Lewis, which if you don't know who he is, you need to go get a book or YouTube or Wikipedia or something. If you're in his sport, you should know who he is. All right, so he coached Carl Lewis, and he was now my coach. And you know, I was with him from 07 to basically the beginning of 2010 year, and he got me over 8 meters for the first time. But then in 2010, I decided, you know, which was probably one of the hardest decisions I've had to make, to change up my coaching a little bit. Went back to Coach Brian, and I told you he took me from 665 to 792. Then I went over 8 meters with Coach Tellez, and I went back to Brian. He took me from 803 to 822 in 1 month's time. In 1 month's time. A lot of people don't know that. My PR went from 803. The first 2 weeks I went back to this training regimen, went to 808. 3 weeks later was the AC Games. Had a big one. All right, so I'll move pages here. The next number I have is 24. So I want to see if anyone can guess what that number means to me. Just anyone can guess 24. You would think it was 24 feet, but believe it or not, 24, 20, you guys are way off, not even warm. 24 is the number of countries that I've gotten to visit for representing Bermuda. 24. Now, I've only been to 23 states. I've been to 24 countries. And let's start in this hemisphere. We got Canada, which is not that big a deal, but that was my first, actually. Canada, Dominican Republic, NACAC under 23 in 2006. That was my first time competing for Bermuda. Colombia, Brazil, El Salvador. Now we go over the pond. We go to Africa. I've been to Africa a few times in Senegal, right on the west coast of Africa. Let's see, England, Spain, France, Germany, Sweden, Netherlands, Switzerland, Norway, Italy, Greece, Croatia, Hungary. We'll go back over to the other side of the Pacific: China, Japan, Korea, Qatar, India, and Estonia. Now I know my ABCs. Next time I'll just sing here. I've been to a lot of places because I'm blessed to have the people in this room that have supported me from day one. and it's been amazing. Now, if you do the math, it's about 625 hours of training per country. But it was worth every second. That much I can promise you. I've had gelato in Italy. I stood inside the Coliseum. Gladiator is one of my favorite movies. So as soon as I got in there, the first thing I did was say, "Are you not entertained?" And I said really loud. People looked at me like I was crazy. I was like, "You don't understand, I've been waiting to do this for a long time." So, Coliseum, I've had crepes in France, Swiss chocolate in Luzerne. I've had sushi in Japan, danced all night in the beaches of Greece after I qualified, or I got that 803 that got me to Beijing. I've jumped in front of 90,000 people before, signed autographs for kids who don't even speak the same language as me. Some people know I used to be kind of, well, I still am a little bit of a skateboarder, so I've skateboarded the streets of Germany. I've seen the slave ports in Africa, walked on beaches in Croatia, and these are just the opportunities that have been afforded because I decided to work hard and not give up and believe in myself. Now, my next number is kind of one of my little pet peeves and kind of a snob when it comes to this. It's 300,000. I know that's not the amount of money I've made, trust me. Actually, 300,000, that's miles. That's how many miles I've flown since 2006 for both representing Bermuda and being on the professional circuit. 300,000. Now, what that means is I'm now elite status, gold on 3 different airlines. 3 airlines, all right? So that also means that when I came in last week or this past week, I got upgraded first class. So it's always nice to have that first class upgrades. If you haven't done it, you need to do it at least once because it is a completely different experience. Instead of the flight attendant pushing you out the way and say you need to sit down and put away your cell phone, they say, "Can I plug it in for you?" You want the Wi-Fi, you can use it, don't worry about it, it's not going to be funny. If they say that, I'm telling you, don't leave, it's okay. Now, I actually remember the first time I got upgraded in first class. It was like, you know, she asked me what I wanted to drink, they got wine and all that, and I really don't drink, so I was like, well, I'm gonna have some apple juice. And I remember thinking this is probably the best apple juice I've ever had. And I've had a lot of apple juice, Mott's, you know, Simply Apple, you know, the list goes on. That was probably the best apple juice I ever had. And I just kept drinking. And then she comes up to me, flight attendant. I'm serious, y'all think I'm joking, I'm serious. She comes up to me and says, "Do you want an ice cream sundae?" Now I looked at her like I was crazy, and I said, "You don't want an ice cream sundae. And don't be cheap on your caramel." And, you know, and she tried not to give me any chocolate. I was like, "I need some chocolate, I need some strawberries." I see the strawberries in the cart over there, just reach around the side. Thank you very much. But, you know, traveling is, the reason why I'm talking about this is because I love to travel. And being an athlete, being on this circuit, running track for Bermuda has allowed me to travel so many different places and enjoy so many different experiences. And I can't tell you how cool it is to see the faces on some of these people. When I go on that little elite line and go around the long line, and they've been waiting in that long line to get on the plane forever, and you just kind of slide by them. And then they look at you, you know, they expect you to be in business attire or, you know, some reason why you're flying first class. And I got on Asics sweatpants and tennis shoes. I got my Beats by Dre headphones on, and they're loud enough to where the whole line can hear them because I like the music. And then I got my hat on backwards, and they're looking at me like, "Who's this dude here cutting in front of me?" And they think, I know they think that I'm just cutting, like I don't actually have the status, but I have because thanks to BTFA and the BOA paying for all these flights, I'm good to go. Thank you for that. I'm not taking advantage, I'm enjoying it.